All right. Now, human rights lawyer and a senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has fired back at the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike over accusations that he misrepresented a Supreme Court ruling on the defection crisis rocking the Rivers State House of Assembly. As you may know, Wike accused the SAN of misinformation regarding the alleged defection of the 27 Rivers lawmakers. The minister further claimed that such misinformation from respected legal figures could destabilize the state and cause political unrest. In a statement on Monday, Falana insisted he never lied about the Apex Court's decision, describing Wike's comment as a deliberate attempt to incite the judiciary against him. He said that his comment were rooted in the fact that the issue of defection was already pending before the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt at the time. He also pointed that the defectors had publicly confirmed their switch from the PDP to the APC through affidavits and video recordings. He concluded by warning that the Supreme Court's recent interpretation of defection laws could be weaponized by unprincipled politicians. In the meantime, the Supreme Court says it will hear the suit filed by 11 PDP governors challenging the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State after its Easter vacation. The Director of Information and Public Relations at the Supreme Court, Dr. Festus Akonde, said the matter would be taken up after the court resumes. The suit is challenging the constitutional authority of the president to suspend a democratically elected governor in any state. The governors are also challenging the president's decision to appoint a sole administrator to govern Rivers State. Meanwhile, Nigerian legislative lawyers under the aegis of the Association of Legislative Drafting and Advocacy Practitioners have asked ECOWAS Court to impose sanctions on President Bola Tinubu over the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State. In the suit, they said the action taken by President Tinubu in imposing emergency rule in Rivers State violated ECOWAS regulations. The lawyers are also seeking imposition of sanctions on the leadership of the National Assembly over their role in the ratification of the emergency rule in Rivers State. Moving on now, there's been a mix of reactions from civil society leaders and academics over Pastor Tunde Bakare's recent criticisms of the President Bola Tinubu administration. In his Easter sermon, Bakare criticized President Bola Tinubu's leadership style and accused him of turning the 10th National Assembly into the extension of the presidency. Reacting to this, Program Director and Clean Foundation Saludeen Hashim said he agreed with Bakare. He told correspondent Suobi Oruware that lawmakers in the current National Assembly don't seem interested in representing the people.
Not too far from the character and nature of the legislative in recent time. We have seen a parliament that has been dedicated into an agenda that does not in any way bring value to citizens. We have seen a system and a parliament that, of course, has consistently rubber-stamped a number of executive decisions that the executive had brought forward. And we think very clearly that this is actually not the intention of the parliamentary institution. The essence is to deliberate, oversight, and
Hashim accused them of pushing the agenda of the political elite, no matter what party they belong to.
Stakeholder within the electoral value chain that has not yielded to reform is actually the politicians and political parties generally, just advancing their own personal interests. And what we have seen very clearly in this particular era is that when the interest of the political class clashes with that of the citizens, that the political class will always prioritize their own interest over the interest of the citizens and the nation. And we believe very clearly that it is an unpatriotic way of actually serving a nation, and it is actually not part of the indicators for democracy.
However, the Executive Director, Purin Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PACA, Ezenwa disagreed. He said the National Assembly does not always need to be in conflict with the executive arm of government.
Take it that is a media-hogging statement for a man who has, for me, has been very relevant for some time. The conversation is about checks and balances. The concept of checks and balances is not adversarial. It is one in which there's a principled engagement with the different arms of government in a cooperative manner. So it's not an abstract, checks and balances is not an abstract thing. So when you want to appraise them, you appraise them on the basis of these three principles and not on the basis of what you conceive.
Wagu questioned why opposition parties like the PDP and Labour Party have not spoken up if the process is so flawed, especially regarding the approval of the state of emergency in River State.
We are talking about state of emergency. If you look at all the sections of the law that people are putting, it is open to different interpretations. Can you show me anywhere where the PDP members, opposition members, addressed a press conference that they were not part of the decision of the National Assembly? Myself, you, a civil society person, and Tunde Bakare is a member of civil society. The people who have responsibility to say the processes were not properly done in the National Assembly did not make any such call. Are you telling me that there is no opposition in the National Assembly?
In another development, the administrator of Eche local government area, Dr. Onyenachi Samuel Nwankwo, has formally dissolved all standing committees and cancelled all appointments made by the previous local government administration. The Eche administrator, in a statement, said that the dissolution and cancellation of appointments take immediate effect. He wished all the appointees well in their future endeavors. He also asked them to return all council properties in their possession to the council secretariat and hand them over to the head of local government administration. He said compliance is important and mandatory, as failure will attract legal penalties. He also called on anyone wishing to do business in a Eche local government area to reach to appropriate authorities in the council. Coming up next, Ankles says Maiduguri prison bomb explosion not true. Stay with us.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back, and now the rest of the news. The Chief Executive Officer of Buchi Oil and Gas Services Limited, Josephat Atusiaka, has debunked a viral report linking the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to the ownership of Resta Park Nigeria Limited. The claim, which originated from Symphony News' Facebook page, alleged that Wike owns, amongst other things, Resta Park Oil and Gas Company. Speaking with our correspondent, Mr. Atusiaka described the report as entirely false and misleading. Now, he clarified that the legitimate owner of Resta Park is Mr. Chris Okogu, a businessman from Delta State.
The CEO of Resta Park is my very good friend and my boss. So I want the people of Rivers State to not believe what you are seeing on the social media, that the property is owned by Ezebonwa Nyesom Wike, the former Rivers State governor. So anybody hearing my voice from this moment should not believe that. The whole people in oil and gas industry knows the rightful owner of Resta Park, the CEO, is Chris Okobo. He's never a Rivers man. He's from Delta State. Resta Park started from former Resta Park in Eromo Odumaya, 1999. Presently now it's a total free station, Eromo Odumaya.
Our correspondent who reviewed the certified true copy of the Certificate of Incorporation from the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, confirmed that Resto Park Nigeria Limited was officially registered on March 11, 1999, with an amendment done on the file on January 13, 2006. On their part, the general manager of Resto Park Nigeria Limited, Ezekiel Adole, and one of Resto Park's station manager, Wokineme George, also refuted the ownership claims, emphasizing that their reporting line is strictly to their CEO, Chris Okogu, and not to the FCT minister or any government official.
Resto Park Oil and Gas, we have 4 stations in Rivers State here. One at Rumudara, the other one at Aba Road, that is Rumola. We have one at Elekaya and one at Ikoko. So I'm the one that managed 4 of them, and I don't report to Wiki. My MD, CEO, as I earlier said, is Christopher Okogu.
So the news flying around, we want to let the public know that the Resto Park filling station is being owned by Mr. Chris Okogu. He's not the former governor of Rivers State. Since I joined the company, I've not had anything to do with knowing any other person apart from my boss, who is Mr. Chris Okogu.
Elsewhere, the Nigerian Correctional Service NCOS has refuted report of an alleged bomb explosion at the Medium Security Custodial Center in Maiduguri, describing the claim as false and misleading. In a statement signed by the service's public relations officer, Deputy Controller of Corrections, Umar Abubakar, the NCOS clarified that there was no security breach at the facility or any other custodial center across the country. It said the situation at the custodial center remains calm and stable, and inmates are continuing their rehabilitation programs without disruption. Now, amid rising insecurity in parts of Nigeria, Jigawa State Governor Omar Namadi has cautioned against calls for self-defense, warning that such a move could plunge the country into anarchy. A former Minister of Defense, retired General Theophilus Danjuma, recently urged Nigerians to defend themselves against bandits and armed attackers, particularly in Benue and Plateau State, as reliance on the government for protection was no longer tenable given the spate of violence and killings in the country. But Governor Namadi rejected the approach, describing it as a dangerous path. He argued that rather than encourage armed self-defense, the government at all levels must continue to strengthen Nigeria's security architecture. Well, in a related development, President Bola Tinubu is planning to meet with the service chiefs to discuss the rising killings in Plateau, Benue, and other parts of the country on his return to Abuja from his 2-week working visit to Paris. Tinubu returned to Abuja on Monday night after spending 18 days on a working visit and retreat in Paris and London. Tinubu was received by senior officials of his administration when he arrived at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, late yesterday. And now, the Rumwijima community says its attention has been drawn to report by some community members in Rupoko town claiming ownership of Rumwijima community or here Mbakere farmland, where SPDC Mpoku Manifold is sited, as well as part of the land newly acquired by Heirs Energy Company. The community in a statement said the manifold and the extended land by Heirs Energy Company in Rumwijima community belongs to the Rumwijima community and they are not the property of any individual or family. It said Rumwijima community is made up of 4 families: Rumu Wogu, Rumu Amadiojuku, Rumu Amadielebo, and Rumu Ajonwo families. It said any negotiation regarding the use or purchase of Rumwijima community manifold or any community land must be done with recognized representatives of the 4 subfamily units present. It called on SPDC, Heirs Energy Company, and the public to take note. The statement was signed by Chioma Benson of Rumo Amadiojuku family, Sunday Abraham of Rumo Ajonwo family, Ibe Eric Amadi, a member of Rumu Wogo family, Nnachukwu Emeka Hanacho, a member of Rumu Amadielebo family, and women and youth of Rumwijima community. Now, away from that, the senior pastor of Best People Assembly, Professor Levinus Firi, says the church plans to install a water treatment plant at its new premises along Ordnance Road off Peter Odili Road by Sassoon Roundabout, Trans-Amadi, with the aim of providing free treated water for Port Harcourt residents. Fili disclosed this at the foundation laying ceremony of the church building, Trans-Amadi Worship Emporium, its school, Union Best College, and the administrative building of the church, Jesus Embassy.
I've got that burden for years to raise leaders, not just leaders in the church, but leaders globally. The school is a 4-story building, the admin block is a 4-story building, and the church is a 3-story building. The whole ground floor is going to be parking lots. We're installing a water treatment plant to serve the whole of this community. So we're going to give them water free of charge, not just borehole water, but treated water. So they don't need to buy sachet water, both members and non-members alike. We thank God that the foundation is laid today, and in less than no time, will be completed.
On his part, the suspended Deputy Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Dumle Mao, applauded the church for embarking on the corporate social responsibility, assuring of his support for the project and the church buildings.
A lot of corporate social responsibilities that the church is prepared to offer to communities around here. And so for me, they have come to add value to the society, and they need all the support, they need all the commendations from those of us who are in public office. When you see a man that the hand of God is upon him, you don't need a soothsayer, you don't need a third party to introduce you or to know that the hand of God is upon him. God is a mighty God, and that is why himself is also doing that which God has blessed him to do that are great. I am proud to be identified with the church and him as a person, and I will do everything within my means to support this project.
Prophet Randy Square and Dr. Sonny Rod, both from the United States of America, also spoke to newsmen shortly after anointing the project.
I have been to a number of different countries, but have never seen the extent of the work that's being done here to see the body of Christ grow further, not just here, but internationally.
This gives people a place to come, not only to be trained up, but also internationally to come here. God is bringing his body together, and it's not about nationality, it's not about color, it's about his body and his will being done. And it talks about a beautiful bride. And when you see men and women coming together, there's such a beauty.
Our correspondent reports that the ceremony followed the conclusion of Rainbow Covenant Commission RCC 2025, a 5-day annual program of the church-themed settlement from Lodabar to Railborth.
And now we bring you news from around the world.
Cardinals are set to hold the first meeting to set Pope Francis's funeral, though Pope Francis outlined his wishes for a modest burial. The funeral for a pope is no simple matter. Now, it will likely take weeks to choose a new pontiff. The Vatican says Pope Francis, the first Latin American leader of the Roman Catholic Church, died of stroke and subsequent irreversible heart failure. Memorial masses for Pope Francis are expected across the world today.
This is the news on 92.3.
We, the Chiefs, Community Development Committee, women and youths of Umechim community, joyfully congratulate our illustrious son, Dr. Onyenachi Nwankwo, on his well-deserved
before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. A lawyer, Femi Falana, has fired back at FCT minister over the Supreme Court ruling on Rivers lawmakers' defection case. Stakeholders have reacted to an Easter message criticizing Tinubu administration. President Tinubu has returned to Nigeria after a visit to France and UK. On the foreign scene, cardinals will hold their first meeting to set Pope's funeral. The news was edited by Martha Okere. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Mwanyeli. Many thanks for listening.